Hey, Disturbing listeners, Love is Blind. Let's watch.
Your other girlfriend, Molly, came into the lounge and very proudly talked about how you told her that she was your number one connection here.
Okay, so to catch you up, Lauren learned a while back that Molly was the one that he was seeing. And in the lounge, the way Molly comes across, she's very confident that she is his number one. I think over time, though, Lauren was in contention in Dave's mind to be number one, or was number one for a very brief amount of time. But Lauren in the lounge wasn't disclosing, so there was some discomfort there for Lauren, because she's like, I don't know if she knows that I know, kind of a thing. And, I just think it's just the way that the lounges work, and it's hard to navigate it. Lauren headed into that situation not really wanting to disclose. Molly was trying not to, but then would. And so, you could argue that once they get to some point in the week, it probably would be a good idea for Lauren to come forward. But I don't think Molly really minds, because she believes that she's number one. And I didn't show this, but Dave and Molly just had a long date, and Dave was talking with her about rings. And I was wondering if we were in a Leo situation where he was talking about rings too early, but then it seemed like Molly was number one. And then in the lounge, Lauren was talking with one of her friends saying, I think Molly is misinterpreting Dave and assuming that Dave is into her more than he is, because there are times when Dave is pretty into me, or Dave is manipulative. And it could be any of those things. Molly does seem very confident and optimistic, and maybe a little on the assuming side of that. I don't know if we would call that, well, I guess kids today would call it delulu. I don't know exactly the usage of that term, but I think she has good reason to believe, because I think that Dave has had her as at least tied for number one for a long time. With Dave, you could say that he is stringing Lauren along. And I will say that the way that Dave and Molly talk, it's particular. We've seen other couples talk like that, but it seems to lack that oomph. I don't know what to call it, but like when Madison and Alex, and I don't know, maybe Madison and Alex will be a disaster, but the way that they were talking, and the way that Joey and Monica were talking in the pods as they were start to like, oh my God, are you my number one? Oh my God, yeah, you're my, oh my God, like, oh my God, and it's just, and of course, Joey and Monica, they don't really have an upper limit. But even with Madison, who seems to have some reservation about displays of emotion, even in the pods, Madison, who was I? Madison seems to have some reservation at times when she and Alex were really discovering, they're pacing around. So Dave and Molly don't have any of that. So I just wonder what that says. Are they just more reserved? Is it not in the edit? Are they not really feeling it? Because both of them would say in different ways that they don't have experience in this sort of relationships of marriage and soulmate and long-term. Molly has said she's literally never had a boyfriend, which kind of sounds like she's never had anything close to a boyfriend, really. But I don't know. And then Dave has talked about how he's been an asshole. But I seem to remember he was saying that he has had some relationships, but they were not very involved. So they might either have a difficult time accessing what's there because of defenses or something going on, maturity, I don't know. Don't need it. Some people fall in love and get married, and they have what I would call maybe a different sort of love. So Lauren comes in, and after hearing Molly talking about how he has declared that Molly's number one, Lauren comes in and blasts him. And I will say that Lauren is exhibiting, she kind of reminds me of Johnny from a few seasons ago, who I think has a good heart and has, means well, and for the most part is a non-jerk face, but has some sensitivities and gets a little, I don't know what to say, reactive in situations and prickly. Because there's another way, we've seen other people in Lauren's shoes say it differently. You know, she could say, so where are we right now? Because I'm hearing things, you know, that would get at the same thing. And I think she's assuming some things about Dave. I will say that in the beginning of the season, I was, I don't know how to put it, using Dave as a jumping off point to talk about a lot of pathology and personality. And I haven't seen any evidence of that in the edit since then. I mean, I've seen maybe hints, but this isn't playing out the way that it will with others. You know, like with Matthew, it was just pretty consistent. With him, I wonder, and I did have this hypothesis in the beginning, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, if when he's nervous, he does concerning things, reality TV villainous things, right? Like asking every woman what's wrong with you and telling, I think, Lauren, oh, you're 30, so you're no longer pretty anymore. So, what do you say? Something like that. So maybe he just gets up in his head and doesn't know what to do. There are various different symptoms or unfortunate social tendencies when people are nervous. I had an extended family member who, when nervous, would just talk and 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 talk, and you couldn't say anything, and you just had to sit there and listen to them while they just went to her. And it was really bothersome. And there was one time where I was kind of stuck, couldn't get away, and I don't have a lot of patience for that sort of thing. And then later found out that once they were more comfortable in a situation, they completely were not like that. So it's not like this inherent personality. So, you know, maybe it's that. Who knows? But I don't know. I would not put a lot of money down that he won't exhibit concerning behavior in that direction in the future, because there were so many examples. But, you know, who knows? Anyway, so Lauren just laid it on the table.
Your other girlfriend, Molly, came into the lounge and like very proudly talked about how you told her that she was your number one connection here.
Man.
And maybe this is for the best. Maybe this will prompt what would have happened anyway. And maybe Dave was avoiding. So maybe this will just prompt something that was going to happen anyway.
Number one, did you say that? And number two, if that's how you feel, then I don't need to be here.
Oh, man.
Well, that is a little interesting. So depending on where they are out, where they're at in the 10 days, determines how I interpret that, because there's nothing wrong with having a number one and a number two, because a lot of people will have that because they're midweek and they're supposed to continue to see, you know, they're encouraged by production to, you know, don't, you know, for politeness sake, narrow it down very quickly to one person. You're supposed to be, all of you are supposed to be entertaining as many as you feel like is necessary. So if it's midweek, then for her, because she's saying, Molly says that you said that she's the number one, right? Is that what she said?
Girlfriend Molly came into the lounge and like very proudly talked about how you told her that she was your number one connection.
Yeah, Lauren is absolutely free to disclose this, and she's also absolutely free to say, look, if I'm still not your number one, then we might as well just end it here, or just level with me, because I thought I was the number one based on our conversations. So there's nothing wrong with that, but there is something, I think, a little unfair to blast him for having something that a lot of people have midweek, which is they're dating multiple people.
If that's how you feel, then I don't need to be here.
Oh, man.
I haven't said a single thing to Molly, and I honestly don't know if Molly knows that it's me that is also talking to you.
This is what I didn't want to happen, is like get caught up in like the girl drama.
I don't think it's girl drama.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not a fan of that. And is this another example of problematic attitudes? It's in that it's got to have some elements of that, because that's, I mean, especially the way he worded it, but even the way he's interpreting it. This is a problem that all three of you are going through. He's like, oh, cat fight, great. I don't want to be able. Now, I'm guessing what he is saying is he's not ready to say. He might still wonder if Lauren is potentially a number one, which would be totally fine. And he was worried, or is now interpreting this as a problem of like, oh no, you guys are talking, or you're competing directly with each other in the lounge, and that's screwing everything up for everyone. And that's not good. So if I could wave my magic wand, you wouldn't know any of that stuff, because I still have feelings for you, and I don't want this to interfere with our possibility, you know, which would be fine. If that were the case, I would say talking wedding rings with Molly was irresponsible. But I don't know. I feel like Molly is pretty... She seems like she's not fully invested, honestly. But maybe she is. Verbally, she is, but and she's happy, but she doesn't seem like she needs it. And not that you have to have that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Molly were to be dumped by Dave, which I'm guessing isn't going to happen. If Molly would just be like, yeah, okay, well, bummer, you know. That's saying a lot, but I don't know. Anyway, so girl drama, and I'm glad that Lauren is like, it's not girl drama.
Didn't want to happen is like get caught up in like the girl drama.
I don't think it's girl drama. You need to just figure out what you want.
And if this is the question that she is putting forth, then I think it's completely fair to say, do we have a chance? If you're fairly sure it's Molly, and you are just being polite, or you're avoiding the reality of this, then I'd like to know, is that the case? Or does Molly have it wrong? Or what are my chances here? You know, this is something that happens on this show often at some point, right? People are like, I can't continue to just hang out with you in the pods while I am fairly sure that I am going to get dumped. So either dump me now or convince me that that's not going to happen. And, you know, it's a tough position for the Daves of the world. You certainly don't want to just say, girl drama.
It's so interesting to hear you say that you and Molly are so similar and you like all the same things and think similarly, and I don't know how we don't have that. Why is that your immediate positive thing about Molly? I know what you and I have like connected over, and I'm just like, how the hell are you doing that with someone else? I just don't get it.
It's totally rational for Lauren to be concerned about this and ask about this, but it's not the protocol in the show typically, and it puts Dave in this really weird position where he has to say, well, to tell you the truth, yeah, you and I connect in some different ways, but in this way that you're talking about, you and I don't. Are you sure you want to hear that? Even if we get together, is that something you want to live with in your head, rattling around in your head? So, you know, it's just a situation. So I think under most circumstances, it's the Lauren person's responsibility to just get down to basics. And because at this point, Lauren's basically just arguing with him instead of just getting back to basics and saying like, look, I want to be with you. And we've seen this from other people in Lauren's position. Look, I want to be with you, and I'm not going to cast aspersions about you and Molly. I have ideas, and, you know, I'm not going to lie that there are times when I'm waiting to have a date with you that I'm thinking, my experience of Molly just doesn't make sense. I don't see the two of you together, but what do I know? I'm biased, obviously. You know, don't listen to me on that, but I do know I want to be with you, and I'm terrified that you're gonna break up with me at the very least, and or you're gonna be with her or break up with me, and so I'm really sad about that, and I'm frantic, and frankly, it's hard to just kind of hang out in the pods, like we saw. Was it Jessica with Jimmy? She had that attitude of like, I can't just sit here and hang out with you. Or was it Brittany and Leo? Anyway, so there's nothing wrong with her having these kind of questions, but I think it's unwise and unfair to have this kind of line of questioning. It's like, okay, you say that you and her can or have so much in common. I thought we had a lot in common. Like, what is he supposed to say to that? Now, I think it would be okay for her to say, kind of in the vein of what I was saying earlier, of I feel like we have a lot in common, and maybe you have more different things in common with Molly, but we have this in common, and I feel like a kinship in this way, which is really important to me. And I don't know. I just kind of want to remind you of that because I want to be with you. But I'm not going to get into a situation where I'm making you justify your situation, So also, it could shoot her in the foot to have an attitude of, oh my God, Dave, you're a jerk face because you have feelings for someone else. It's like, well, that's love is blind. That happens sometimes.
Molly, like, maybe let it slip that, like, I was the only guy she had left.
Oh no, she told me that point blank.
I don't like that she did that, to be honest with you. But I think what's held us back, me and you, is not knowing. I didn't know if you were seeing other guys still. We haven't really talked about that.
I know. So can I be so honest with you?
Yeah, please.
Just another data point. I don't know if this is true, but a number of the couples have mentioned that I don't know where they are in the week, but it seems late in the 10 days. And it seems like there have been less disclosures around whether or not they're dating other people. And I don't know if that's just the way things panned out of it just organically grew into this understanding that everyone, including people in the pods, and in the lounge, that they were just going to be friends, and we're just going to not get into the disclosures of how many people we're dating. We're just not generally going to do that. Or if that's another reflection of the reserved cultural theme that maybe not everyone in this area, but if you're going to grab a bunch of people from the area, then they're going to be more like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Please.
Dave, you are the only reason I'm here.
Oh my God. Now I'm thinking back, like when you were like, cancel all your dates,
Yeah, I don't
You were being
I don't
serious.
understand how you weren't getting from me.
I thought you were kidding.
I will say I'm encouraged by his response there of like, oh my God. I mean, I think what he is feeling in that moment of, oh, I'm the only, I've been your only one from the beginning. Oh, I feel bad. Like I've been doing this to you. I think that's what it was. I hope that's what it was. So that's encouraging.
Molly, she's told me, I want you to like figure out what you need to figure out.
Yeah.
So I've like really respected that. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I do need to figure things out.
Yeah, I don't think I showed that in my reaction video, but Molly was extremely chill about her knowing that Dave was dating someone else. I mean, maybe Molly's chill because she's confident that she's number one. I mean, they're talking about wedding rings. But regardless, she was totally okay. She's like, yeah, do what you got to do. Figure it out. I'm here. You're my number one. You're the only one. But figure it out. And if you don't choose me, then I guess you don't choose me. And that sucks. But that's okay. And you could see how that could be appealing, right? Of, wow, you love me and have your own confidence, and also you are respecting that I have my own agency. But on the other hand, you could see how he would like Lauren, who is just like fighting of like, no, I want you, and I don't want anyone else with you, and I am desperate for this. I want this. I need this. And the downside to that would be that, oh, here's someone that is too needy or something like that. I don't tend to use that phrase, but you could see how someone would have that pro and a con. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, truly, because you deserve it. You really, really do.